the day with your family to look at some animals at what seems like a small zoo. But what happens behind the closed doors at what's known as a roadside zoo? Unimaginable.
What we see in those facilities stays with you forever.
Rebecca Aldworth and Humane World for Animals Canada are no stranger to this Quebec-based facility. The team spearheaded the largest seizure of zoo animals in Canadian history 6 years ago.
This is without a doubt the most complex animal rescue we've ever undertaken in Canada. As of today, Humane Society International is assuming the care of more than 100 wild and exotic animals comprising dozens of different species.
It ended up being more than 250 animals that were seized. The owner, Norman Chahan, had received fines from the province in the past and was on the radar of the Montreal SPCA.
We did seize 2 live alpacas who were emaciated and at imminent risk of death, according to the veterinarian, as well as 4 deceased animals, 2 tigers and 2 species of birds.
Then a year later at St. Edouard Zoo.
This is the first time in Canada that a zoo owner is facing criminal animal cruelty charges.
The veterinarian who was accompanying us, who has had over 15 years of experience working with both professional and amateur zoological facilities, she told us that this was by far the worst case she had ever seen in her whole career.
But the federal charge of animal cruelty dropped after Chahan pleaded guilty to lesser violations. He was fined $6,800 and banned from owning exotic animals for 5 years.
3 lemurs who suffered such severe frostbite that their fingers fell off, and the owner refused to treat them or have them euthanized because he could still breed them.
Fast forward to January of 2025. Another for-profit roadside zoo operating on the same property went bankrupt, and the land deferred back to Chahan, along with these 7 lions.
It was devastating for us to have gone in the first time, to have committed the just massive resources, both human and financial, it took to shut that roadside zoo down and to find homes, forever homes for these animals throughout North America. And to know that he just circumvented everything that had happened.
Animal law advocacy organization Animal Justice states that Canada has some of the worst animal protection laws in the developed world.
When I walked into that broken down, dank, barren, dark enclosure that these lions were in, and I saw them confined to tiny spaces, and that's where they were spending their winter, in, an 8x10 chain link surrounded concrete room with nothing. They were just alone in the dark and waiting for help. I walked in there and I saw that, and I knew there was no way that we could walk away. It came to light that the owner of this facility was considering euthanizing the lions and or selling them to a known animal abuser in the United States.
And it didn't take long for word to catch wind south of the border, all the way to Minnesota.
There was somebody in the U.S. looking to purchase these lions. And that's how we got involved, because we obviously didn't want them to go to one concerning situation to another. We wanted them to be able to live out their lives at accredited sanctuaries and no longer contribute to the surplus, which we call the captive wildlife crisis. There we go, beautiful. Yep, all good.
When you're transporting an endangered animal, you have to obtain a permit to do so. But that permit goes through multiple government processes, and it's time intensive to get. So that's why we had to have a temporary home in Canada while we waited for those permits.
Maybe another hand? Hold on. You got it?
That home didn't exist in Canada. There were no zoos that were able to take these animals, even temporarily. There was no space for them anywhere. So we had to construct a facility from the ground up, and that's where Aspen Valley came in.
And the clock was ticking. It was the dead of winter, 3 hours north of Toronto, and the Muskoka-based nonprofit needed to build an entirely new space to become the first of its kind sanctuary in Canada to bring these innocent animals one step closer to salvation. But the painful journey far from over, and the greater issue still unaddressed. Sarah Freemark, CTV News.